Hello, this is Daniel and I'm going electric for the average person. Today's video, a road trip through Texas with my dad. And today's route's going to take us south through, I think, Waco, Austin, far south.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure where we're going. I told Dad I was coming to Texas, and he said, hey, you want to go on a road trip? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. I'm not exactly sure where we're going. Dad has something very specific in mind, so tell us where we're going to go.
Thanks, Dan. Well, we're starting from Dallas, just north of downtown. And we're going to drive down to Waco, then take a west and go a few miles to McGregor, where the SpaceX rocket development facility is. Then we're going to drive down to Austin and take a look at the progress on the new Tesla Gigafactory. And of course, we'll be driving up in Danny's Model Y. And then we're going to go on down to San Antonio, spend the night, go to the Alamo. Dan has never been there, and it's been 60 years since I've been there. So we're going to do that and then go on down to South Padre Island. Then we're going to spend a little bit of time at Boca Chica, where the SpaceX facility for building the Starship is. We'll see if the one that crashed a couple of days ago is still pieces there, or if they're already loading up number 9 for another hop. And then we're going to go up the coast, one of my favorite towns, Corpus Christi, then to Galveston, another one of my favorite towns, and I'm sure we'll do a little seafood there. Then as we're coming back, we'll drive past the NASA headquarters in Houston, and then back to Dallas.
I'll be tracking some efficiency numbers in the Tesla as we're going. I think it's going to be about a 1,000-mile round trip. So come along for the ride, see if we make it, see if we run into any trouble, and see what kind of trouble we get into. Right now, we are in McGregor, Texas, and I'm going to have my dad tell us all what's important about this place.
Dan, where we are is right outside McGregor at the SpaceX rocket development facility. It's hazy. It's hard to see much. The rain just stopped, but we were, right at the front gate. Unfortunately, the guy guarding the gate didn't recognize either Dan or I, and
he didn't let us in.
He didn't let us in. But this is where SpaceX does the test firing for all of the rockets that they build. All of the Merlin engines come here to get tested before they get integrated into Falcon 9s. And this is where the Raptor engines all get tested before they get shipped down to Boca Chica. So even though we didn't get to see a lot, we did get to see where this facility is, and it's a very important part of the SpaceX process of building their spaceships. We're right outside Austin, Texas. We're on our way to the site of the Tesla Gigafactory. It's being built, and we're going to go take a look at it and see what it looks like in person, not just in the YouTube videos.
The camera's all over the map here. What's so important about the Tesla Gigafactory for our viewers?
It's the third Gigafactory built since the first one in Fremont, California. They built one in China, which of course is huge. They got one under construction in Berlin. And now the one here, where they're going to build the Tesla pickup trucks, the semis, as well as Model 3s and Model Ys for the Midwest and East Coast, and whatever else they decide to build here. But it's a massive facility, and we're going to go put an eyeball on it our own self.
So, Dad, what do you think?
Well, this is really something you need to see for yourself. Videos, pictures, they're impressive, but to see the scale of this thing in real person, certainly worth the trip, that's for sure. It's a massive, massive facility. I guess this is where they're going to build my Model Y again.
I will also say security just down the road behind my shoulder here. Very tight. Don't think you're going to get off the highway and just pull in to what looks to be the right place to park, because they're going to kick you out like that. So we actually had to drive down the highway, do a big circle, come back and park on the side of the road next to the highway, because Elon, your security is great. They're on their jobs. Give them a raise. They're doing excellent work. We're no longer down there for very specific reasons, but Tesla, throw us a bone. We're fanboys. We're your evangelists. We want to get close.
Hey Dan, can I drive now?
No.
Hey Danny, how about now?
No.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. All right, Dad, where are we now?
Well, Dan, this is the reason we took the trip. We're at the SpaceX Starship Development Center in Boca Chica, Texas, south of, near Brownsville. And this is where they're building, the Starships. They flew one to 40,000 feet last week. They got another one they're going to move in and do another test coming up possibly next week. We'll see, but it's one thing to see this on video. It's another thing to see it in person. These buildings are huge, and those rockets are big. It's truly amazing.
And there's no security here.
Nope. No, they wouldn't let us get too close to a construction site, but here, we're right at the doorstep.
Like all good things, this trip too must come to an end. We are supercharging at Corsicana, Texas, about 50 miles or so outside of Dallas. Looking at the trip information on the display, I see that we've traveled so far 1,498 miles on this amazing trip around Texas over the course of 5 days. I'll be giving you the efficiency numbers for this trip at the very end of the video, but I wanted to ask my dad first, of all the things that we saw, what was his favorite?
Well, we saw some pretty amazing things on this trip. I mean, this has really been a very full 4 days. Is that what it is?
5 days.
5 days. But I would have to say that my favorite of all was the SpaceX facility at Boca Chica. To be able to stand on that road and see these massive machines that these guys are building was really an amazing experience. I mean, it's one thing to see it on your computer screen or TV. It's another thing to be standing right there to really give you a sense of how big these things are. So I'd have to say Boca Chica was my favorite.
And I think it was really cool at Boca Chica. Strangely, I thought the SR-8 that had exploded last week just on landing was really fascinating, because you get to see like the science and the rocket and the engineering and everything just in pieces all over the place. And you get to drive right by and you can get out and just look at it. Everything's scorched. You just see these parts and pieces all over the place. And
but the nose intact.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. And so you get to see like all the engineering kind of like laid out for you on the ground. And they're going to clean it up and they're going to do a SR9 and 10, 11, or however it works. But I thought that was pretty wild. And then the hopper there just looked wackier. It looked like a giant washing machine, like a huge washing machine that just like flies and then lands. Like, it was insane. So that whole place blew my mind. And that's what I really liked. I'm also going to give a plug to the NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston. where we got to see a Saturn V. It was huge, amazing, just kind of blew my mind how big that was. And then also the Falcon 9, that's right outside, that has been used. And you get to see those wind resistance.
The paddles that they steer with coming back down.
Pretty awesome. Just a lot like thicker and heavier than I was expecting. And you can really see how it creates that drag, and then those deploy, and then the legs go down, and just seeing all of that.
All at the last second. Yeah.
Really, really awesome stuff. Yeah. So it was a great trip. Thanks for coming along. Stick around for the efficiency numbers.
Danny, I have one more question for you.
Yes, Father.
Can I drive the car now?
No. You're not driving the car. No one's driving the car ever.
Thanks for coming along.
And finally, the efficiency numbers for this amazing trip around Texas. Taking a look at the display, we can see the trip information for Trip A, which was my trip around Texas, totaling 1,558 miles. Zooming in, we see that the total trip consumed 519 kilowatt hours. If we take 1,558 miles and divide it by 519 kilowatt hours, that gets us an efficiency rating of 3.00 miles per kilowatt hour. This is my preferred efficiency rating, which you can use to compare other electric vehicles, or you can even run the numbers on gasoline-powered vehicles. They're a whole lot smaller. And in this case, smaller is worse. So taking 1,558 miles and multiplying that by 333 watt hours per mile gets us, not coincidentally, 519 kilowatt hours, which is the number shown in the middle of the display. Taking that 3.00 miles per kilowatt hour number, we can multiply that by 33.41 kilowatt hours, which is the equivalent amount of energy to be found in a gallon of gasoline. And you will see that we will get an average mile per gallon efficiency rating of 100 miles per gallon. That is phenomenal efficiency. Not as much as the 126 listed for the car, but still very impressive. Now let's take a look at the average cost of electricity per kilowatt hour for all the supercharging I did around Texas. The total amount of money I spent on this trip was $83.04. If you divide that by 519 kilowatt hours, you'll see that my supercharging cost me about 16 cents per kilowatt hour. That's really cheap compared to the 30 cents plus that you find in other parts of the country. Texas, you got cheap energy. Lastly, we're going to do some price comparisons for gasoline-powered vehicles. Let's say that you traveled those 1,558 miles in a car that got about 28 miles per gallon on the highway. In that case, it would take 58 gallons to travel the same 1,558 miles. At $1.85 per gallon, this trip would cost you $107, which is 29% more expensive than what my Tesla cost. Lastly, if you were to drive a less efficient vehicle that used premium gasoline, let's take 1,558 miles, divide it by 23 miles per gallon, which would take 68 gallons to travel the same distance. At $2.40 for the average cost of premium gasoline in Texas, this trip would cost you $163, which is a full 96% more expensive. This is where you see the cost benefit of owning an electric car come into play. Thanks for watching.